Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. Scarborough Agincourt is a wonderful riding to live in, and I really appreciate all of you coming out tonight. I especially appreciate our candidate, Aris Babikian, being here in person tonight. Please have a seat. There are two other candidates who were invited to be here and who told me that they weren't coming kind of at the last minute. So some of your emails that you saw, I truly expected we'd have at least two candidates, but we don't. However, Aris Babikian is with us tonight, and what we're going to do is Lee and I are going to alternate with some of these questions, and we think the questions kind of cover some of the general topics that are pertinent to Scarborough Agincourt. And then you can get into some of the individual things, the issues or concerns or ideas that you might have. I am Rhoda Potter. I am president of Agincourt Village Community Association in this community. And Lee, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Lee Soda. I'm also a resident of Scarborough Agincourt, and I'm the executive director of AXA Community Services. We're here in one of our locations, so welcome everyone.
And thank you for the opportunity to be with. We also have Ron Parkinson, who I work with. He's sitting in the front. He was at the table. We are working together with associations throughout Scarborough in order to help each other out in common concerns and common ideas. So we do have an umbrella group that's called Scarborough United Neighbourhoods, or SUN for short, and it's growing in popularity. And through SUN, we've encouraged each of the ridings to have one of these meetings, so we get to know our candidates. So Aris, if you're ready, we'll start with the questions.
Yeah.
I think I'm on first, so here we go. If elected, how will you ensure that the voices and needs of Scarborough Agincourt community are heard, and how will you address the provincial legislature to represent our needs?
First of all, thank you very much for all of you for coming and having this chat. I consider this is a family or a community chat. I am a resident of Scarborough Agincourt for 35 years this year, and I live in the Wishing Well area, so whatever happens in the community, it affects me, and I am very much interested in addressing some of the issues as a resident, first of all, and secondly, as an elected official. For 7 years, I served Scarborough Agincourt, and my principle is to work with the community. And I have worked with so many different associations, and I would like to thank all the community associations for working with me. Without your support, without your work, without your advocacy, I would not have been able to bring some of the important infrastructure that we are having right now. And of course, we're going to talk to them about them. And coming to the question, I am always available to meet with the community associations, to meet with the community organizations, individually and collectively, to address the issues, and I will coordinate and advocate on behalf of the community as I have done in the past 7 years.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Aris. Lee, do you want to do the next one?
Yes. So although Section 37 was replaced by the Community Benefit Charge, and in light of an unprecedented scale of development being proposed in our Scarborough Agincourt, how will you ensure that the interests of current residents are addressed and appropriate infrastructure, including community services, parkland, education extensions, and health facilities, are also being built to support this unprecedented growth?
Thank you, Lee, for the question. This is a very important question. We know that in our community we have lacked for 15 years any kind of infrastructure commitment build up, and one of the things that I have advocated, actually I advocated three things when I was elected in 2018. Birchmont Hospital, New Birchmont Hospital, the Shepherd subway line, and the Bridletown Community and Health Hub. And I am pleased to say that all three projects for our community, they have been committed by my government in the last 7 years. We allocated $1 billion to build the new wing of the Grace Hospital, where the current south parking lot, it will be, there will be a tower with 450 beds and 14 operating rooms, and we are going to increase the number of services in the Birchmont site. We spent $3 million to renovate the Birchmont emergency room, and that is being committed. The Shepherd subway line, 3 days ago, I was with the Premier on Monday in Scarborough Agincourt. We announced that we are going to build the Shepherd subway line east from Don Mills all the way to McCowan. And it's not only that, but also we are working on renovating and expanding the 401. We are going to add another lane on the 401 with the Kennedy and 401 area. We're renovating the entire stretch from Avenue Road all the way to Nelson. And we are spending $15 billion on this project, the subway and the renovation of the Highway 401 in our area. Of course, some of the renovation is outside, but overwhelming majority from Victoria Park to Midland, it is in our riding, so we will benefit from that one too. When it comes to the Bridletown Community Center, maybe it will be redundant, but it is worth mentioning it, that I advocated for the Bridletown Community Center, part of the ICIP program, which was a joint program between federal, provincial, and municipal governments. So there was a community building stream, and that stream, there were 4 streams. One of them was the community building. And at that time, I worked with United Way, the SHN, and with YMCA to push the Bridletown Community Center Hub project through the ICIP program. The dilemma was that we received, the community stream was around $2 billion out of that whole pot agreed between federal, provincial, and municipal government. And we received 1,200 applications for the community building, and total ask of these 1,200 applications was $11 billion, which was much more than the allocated. So at a point, the government, some of my colleagues decided that we are not going to approve large investments, community, smaller ones. And I spoke with the Minister of Infrastructure, with the Premier, etc., that we need to have the Bridletown Community Center and Health Hub as part of this $1.2 billion community stream. And after lengthy discussion and debate, I am pleased to say that at that time we approved the project, because part of the agreement was that all the applications, which was $33 billion total amount for this ICIP program, application are submitted to the provincial government. The provincial government reviews the applications. If they approve it, they refer it to the federal government to approve it also, so that they can send their own portion. And I was able to push the hub through that program, and I was able to get it approved. And the federal government also approved its share. And we did the groundbreaking around, I believe, a year or a year and a half ago. But the unfortunate thing is that YMCA is facing a little bit difficulty, because with the cost of building right now, it's so exorbitant that they fell short of $21 million of building that project. And because the ICIP program was closed down, finished, we tried to negotiate with the federal government. The province tried to negotiate with the federal government on a new ICIP program, so that we can fund these projects, because it wasn't only the hub. There were long-term cares, there were hospitals, they were facing the same situation. Unfortunately, the federal government did not want to bring a new ICIP program. And at that time, I am in constant meeting with the YMCA board members, executive, how to find money. The province's portion of this $21 million is $8 million. The municipal government portion was $4 million. They were going to take care of the child care center, and that was their portion. So the province and the municipal government agreed that we are going to contribute our share of the shortfall. But unfortunately, the federal government, which is $9 million their share, they refused so far. YMCA, they had a meeting with the Minister of Finance, Christy Freeland. They met with Jean Yip, the local MP. Unfortunately, until now, we don't have a commitment from the federal government. They are going to bring their $9 million portion of the shortfall. Having seen the difficulty that we are facing from the federal side, I am working with my colleagues right now, especially the Minister of Infrastructure, Kinga Sirma, to find a way so that we can contribute more money, so that YMCA, everything is ready. The draws, the design, everything is ready to go. The shortfall is the problem. So I'm working to find a way we can come up with that other $9 million shortfall, so that we can start the building.
Sounds like you have a lot more to do.
Well, you see, I'm committed to it, and I spoke with the Minister of Infrastructure, I spoke with the Premier about the shortfall. The Premier said, Aris, as long as the federal government, they are on board to contribute their own portion, we are 100% committed to our shortfall.
We all know here the needs that we have in North Scarborough, and so we're really looking forward to showing the ground and buildings that happen, I guess. I'm going to move on to the next item, and you touched on transit, but you know that transit is dear to my heart. Public transit, I think.
Everyone's heart.
And to me too.
And to you too. But getting around our community is getting more and more difficult, especially with the elimination of minimum parking requirements in the condominiums that are being built. And public transit has become even more important for people to use, and you mentioned it, but how will you look at getting the investment to increase the public transit that we already have? We know it'll be a long time before we see that subway. We're hopeful that it will happen, but what can be done to alleviate and increase the availability of good public transit now?
This is something that we have to sit with the city to discuss, because part of it falls under the city, like TTC, etc. Falls under. I mean, we tried to improve the quality of public transit with the GO station. We put the dual track. We renovated the Agincourt and Milliken stations. Our intention with the GO station is to have 2,000 trips a week, comparing to the 160 trips that we have right now. I believe that will alleviate a little bit the pressure on public transit, and we are going to explore, if I am re-elected, I'm going to sit down with the city. I believe Manny is on board of organization called Scarborough Renewal.
Yep.
So we are going to sit down together and to try to explore what else we can do to alleviate the gridlock. Also, we brought the one fare system, so that people, they will be able to save $1,600 a year each, travel user $1,600. So that's another issue to help public transit. But I am quite open to hear any new ideas on how can we eliminate the gridlock and traffic until the Shepherd subway line is completely built, and we are going to build it.
Because we have to realize that more people would use public transit if we had the opportunity and the availability. And I will let you know, Aris, right now, on the GO train, the Stouffville GO train that basically runs every half hour at commuter time in the morning and in the evening, but then it runs just every hour during the day. Not everybody works a 9 to 5 job, and some of them need the opportunity during the day. And I've been on that train at 10 o'clock in the morning. Yes, you can get a seat at 10, but anything before that, it's standing room only. So it is being used and needs to be increased. So I'll just put in a plug there.
No, I understand that, and as we have worked on the subway issue, as we have worked on other issue, I have to admit that the previous CEO of Metrolinx, you know better than me, the same way you have and the rest of the community, they have frustration. I had my own frustration with the Metrolinx CEO, and I will tell you something, that we were in a meeting in Queen's Park when, before it becomes public, we were informed that the Metrolinx CEO will be relieved from his duties. And some of my colleagues, they came to me, they said, congratulations, you need to invite us for a dinner now. Because I was so vocal against Metrolinx and the CEO. I will admit that we don't know the future of Metrolinx, how it's going to be evolved, because that will be determined after the election. There are different ideas about this, the Metrolinx outside of the current structure setup. So we need to discuss that in the future and make the Metrolinx more accountable, more transparent, and more punctual.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Aris.
Thank you. The next question's on public and road safety, and I just want to thank you, Aris, for your information regarding B&C. That's a project very close to my heart, and I appreciate the points that you made on that.
What's BNC?
The Bridlewood Neighbourhood Centre, the new community asset, which we've been waiting a long time to get built in North Scarborough. So public and road safety, although largely a municipal issue, how can you, as our elected representative, work with our municipal representatives to ensure that our residents are safe? With increased density, elimination of parking restrictions, and increased competition for use of our roads that threaten to make our already unsafe roads in Scarborough Agincourt perhaps even worse. How will you support infrastructure projects provincially to make it safer for families to walk, bike, and drive in our community?
I am working very closely with the 42nd Division. They have a community, 42nd Division, they have a community liaison body or supportive team where we have a once a month meeting to discuss our security issues in Northern Scarborough, and I attend those meetings, and I have a very good relationship with the 42nd Division. And I have to say that with the community organization, like for example, for certain period, the Delta Hotel shelter was one of the issues that preoccupying the 42nd Division. I don't remember exactly, Rhoda, what was it they said, how much? 70% of the complaint they received, it was from Delta? I don't exactly remember the percentage, but they were telling us that we don't have enough manpower because all our manpower is focused on the Delta shelter. And the good news is that the Delta shelter is in the commission stage now. It will be closed down. By the end of this year, it will be completely closed down. They started decommissioning floor by floor, and the owner, I had a few meetings with the owner of the hotel, and he wants to turn it back to prime hotel in Scarborough. So that issue was also for a certain period a hot topic on our agenda. We work together with the community associations and the 42nd Division. And I have to say that the 42nd Division, they are doing very good job in fighting crime in Northern Scarborough. According to their stats, the crime rate in Northern Scarborough is reducing, is going down. And we as a government, we are trying to empower the police to safeguard our streets. For example, one of the things that we allocated $134 million to buy 4 helicopter choppers to safeguard our street racing, drug trafficking, etc., etc. And we have the auto theft prosecution response team. I better use my glasses reading. So there are other measures that we brought to help the police, and I will continue working with the 42nd Division, with our counselor, Nick Mantas, and the community associations. I am very sensitive to the safety and security of our residents, and because I live on Wishing Well area, and also I have to be security and safety is on top of my mind.
Thank you, Aris. We're going to go into a few more specifics here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about housing. Many residents in Scarborough Agincourt are experiencing housing challenges. How would you specifically outline your party's strategy to make housing more affordable?
We are exploring and we are trying to work with different communities. This issue, because I know I face it also in my office, especially affects mostly with seniors. And we are working with certain diverse communities in building affordable housing for seniors. And I have to say that before the election, our municipal affairs minister, housing and municipal affairs minister Paul Calandra signed 644 zoning areas. These were requests put by the city, the municipal government, for comprehensive review, and we signed. There are the Milliken area, Finch, north of Finch area, there are many projects. They were waiting for this comprehensive review to be signed by the minister, because the intention is to build housing. And many of them will be affordable housing and seniors housing. And I know that there are certain people, they approached me to help them get land to build additional long-term cares and affordable housing. Unfortunately, in Scarborough Agincourt, we don't have that much land. The only piece of corridor we had, it was the Milligan, north of Finch. So now, we signed, as a province, we signed the change. We signed the request of the municipal government. Now, I am in touch with the developers, the people that they want, two of them are community, not-for-profit organizations. I'm in touch with them to help them shepherd the next stage with the city, because once we sign the comprehensive review by the province, from then on, it is up to that stakeholder to deal with the municipal government to expedite the building. And we're giving incentive, as a province, we're giving incentive to the cities to shortcut the red tape, because unfortunately, today, for any developers, they want to build something in Toronto, the process of approval, it can take between 5 to 7 years. For example, on Kennedy Road North, south of McNichol, there was a development, a bunch of developers, they had a piece of land. They wanted to build townhouses. I spoke with Nick Mantas, I spoke with the city, they did. They came to me, they said, Aris, forget it, we're not going to build townhouses because it takes so much. We're going to build a plaza, which is much faster process. So we are encouraging the municipal governments to start expediting these applications. We're giving them incentive. For example, if a municipality fulfills the targets of building housing, we give them additional assistance money for them to develop. And the other issue is that the community development charge. These are also another obstacle for developers, because some of them, they have to pay up to $70,000 per unit community development charge. And we are in negotiation with them. For example, I have to give the city of Mississauga credit after the new mayor came to power, Caroline Parrish. Now what they did, they brought the community development charge to half in Mississauga. So we are trying to encourage the city of Toronto also to come up with such ideas so that we can expedite the building of housing.
Affordable housing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Aris. Me?
Along the same lines of housing, multi-tenant housing. The landlord and tenant board functions for larger housing owners. However, we have many residents living in basement and illegal multi-tenant housing in Scarborough Agincourt. What would you do to address predatory landlords?
Okay. I appreciate the question, Lee, but we have to look at this issue of tenant and landlord relation from the two sides of the spectrum. 70% of the landlords in Ontario, they are small house owners like you and me. I don't own extra house to rent it, but there are some people who own 3 houses they rented. But I agree that there is a problem with the other 30%, which are the national multi-corporations. So we have to be fair for both sides, and that's why the Attorney General increased number of the people on the landlord and tenant board to expedite the process of looking at the applications, expedite them so that it will not take 3 years. I believe, I might be a little bit off, but at least 2 months ago, the average landlord and tenant board application process and making this decision was between 6 to 8 months in comparison to 3 years previously or during the COVID period. So we are addressing that issue, but also we have to look at it that there are certain tenants that they take advantage of the situation and they are abusing the system. I will give you one example. On Pharmacy Avenue, south of Shepherd, where I live, there is a gentleman. He had an extra house, he was renting it. He went to the landlord and tenant board 3 times. He got a favorable decision that the tenant should evict the house. Every time that he got a decision to evict the house from the landlord and tenant board, the tenant went to the landlord and tenant board and put a new application saying, I need more time. At the end, it took him 3 years, $60,000 damages to his house, because it's not only that they are not paying the rent, but also they are not paying the hydro, they are not paying water, etc., etc. So it is complex situation, and I agree that in many situations there are people who are in deep need of assistance and help tenants. I'm not making blank statement in favor of the landlords or the tenants, but it is a quite complex situation and we need to look at it from all angles.
Yeah,
Also,
thank you.
municipal.
I'm going to go on to the next question. These are questions that we've put together that are kind of general for the whole community. The Shepherd subway, and I know there was an announcement this week about the Shepherd East subway extension. That was the wording that was used. But we've been on again, off again, planned, discussed, canceled since 1986. How will you ensure that the Metrolinx business case, which has been completed but is not published yet, make sure it's published and provide provincial budget to allocate to the Shepherd East subway extension? I want to know how it's going to be moved up. I think that was what was said in the press release.
During our press conference on Monday, we announced $15 billion allocation to build the subway. Now, I have been working with you and with other tenants or community association from different parts of Scarborough. We had 2 community consultation. The Scarborough 4 PCCAN members at the time, we clearly stated that we are looking for underground subway station. And even though Metrolinx at that time, they were trying to play game with us, and you know how they were trying to say a free phrase, or during their own consultation, they were trying to direct the residents towards so-called multi-grade, grade, etc. And on many occasions, even during my caucus meeting and during our caucus retreats, I always spoke in favor of underground and building it. And that's why the premier, I mean, if you had the chance to see the clip that we put out, the premier mentioned my name, that I brought it to our caucus government attention, and I was on it all the time. And that's why I need your support, so that I can continue advocating to expedite everything. I have to tell you something. In November, Metrolinx was almost finished from putting their business case. We stopped it. We didn't publish it because it wasn't what we wanted. And I spoke with the Minister Prab Zarkaria. You met him also with Randy, and we put their business case on hold because we wanted, and the Premier committed himself on so many different occasions publicly that we are going to build it underground. And I will make sure that that is what's going to happen.
Thank you, Aris, and we hope it goes all the way out to the zoo.
That's for now, I don't know.
And to the Urban National Park.
Oh, by the way, probably this is not out yet. I don't know when it's going to be out. The Shepherd West Extension, we're going also to build it, so that people from Scarborough, they don't need to take a cab or anything to go to the airport. They can use the Shepherd line all the way to the airport.
I hope I live long enough.
Yeah, I know, but you know,
However, it's a start, and we know we've been here before. We know we would have already had an LRT on Shepherd by now, but hopefully that was planned and discussed. But okay, that's the start. Thank you, Aris. Health-wise,
Moving on to
Health.
some health questions. How will you ensure that the Birchmount Hospital extension will actually be built to support the growth that's happening and is planned in our Scarborough Agincourt?
The planning is all on its way. The board of SHN and the bureaucracy in the Ministry of Health, they are going through, because any major infrastructure project by law, there are 5 stages of approval. The first stage until the second stage is the most difficult and lengthy process. The Scarborough Health Network and the ministry bureaucracy, they are in negotiation. They reach at 1.3 stage of the negotiation. And from my conversation with David Graham, David Bellows, they are telling me that almost the first stage is over. Once that is over, the other 4 stages, it will fall automatically. So it's there, the money is allocated, and once they finish these negotiations, I'm not a technical person, I don't know what is required, environmental assessment, planning, etc. That's for the, but that is on its way, and I'm happy to say that very soon we will have that. But we are not waiting for the hospital to be built. As I mentioned earlier, we allocated $3 million to renovate the emergency department. We are helping the General Hospital with its brand new diagnostic and imaging center, which is almost done, finished. They were supposed to have the opening in March, I believe. So that is done. We are allocating, already allocated $15 million to build 27 dialysis stations in the General. Once the hub is built, there will be around 40 dialysis stations in the hub, because it's mixed between community center and medical center. I mean, we have excellent relationship with the SHN, and now SHN, they have a new project which I'm advocating also, which is to build excellence center in Scarborough Health Network, where graduating doctors, nurses, PSWs, they will go to that excellent center, get trained, get oriented, in the meantime serving the hospital. That project alone is $83 million. And They came to us asking for $40 million. They are going to do a fundraising the rest. And now I spoke with the Minister of Health Chief of Staff recently before the elections. We have a very positive approach towards that project. I think that it will improve the quality of life service on Scarborough Agincourt and Northern Scarborough. And in addition, we are building the first medical school in Scarborough at the university campus. It's almost done. Next year, they will start accepting applications for doctor, nurses, PSWs. So all these graduating experts, professionals, will be mostly from Scarborough, and they will stay in Scarborough. And that's the intention of the Excellence Center with Scarborough Health Network, that the graduating people, they come to this Excellence Center and they start working with the hospital in the local branches. So these are some of the issues that we are addressing, working. There is excellent relationship between the management of SHN and our government. I mean, it's not exaggeration if I say we're working hand in hand with each other, because we're advocating for it. And we added recently 4 hospice beds for Scarborough Health Network. We announced it 2.5-3 weeks ago. So we are trying to address the health needs of Scarborough Agincourt, Northern Scarborough, and Scarborough in general. But the issue is that for so many years, Scarborough was neglected. I will be very frank. I mean, it's not what I am saying. George Smiderman, the former Liberal Minister of Health, publicly stated that we starved the health care system for 5 years so that we can balance the budget. And this is open statement. That's his record. His statement on record. So we are trying to address these issues. I mean, we don't have a magic wand to immediately overnight address every issues, because we should remember that it's not only health, it is housing, it is transportation, and we are trying our best to try to address this issue. And I have to say that Scarborough in the last 7 years received such a great attention from the Premier. He was here on so many occasions, and he is public that after Etobicoke, Scarborough is the second place in his heart.
Thank you,
I mean, I speak to him daily. He has a very sensitive approach, sentiment toward Scarborough and its need, and we will try to address it.
Thank you, Aris. I'm going to ask the last question, and we're going to switch over to childcare, because there is a desert when you come east of Victoria Park in Scarborough, and many parents are finding this. In response to the federal government announced the Canadian-wide Early Learning and Childcare Plan, which the Ontario government signed on to in 2022. This initiative promised a reduction in fees to $10 a day on average, and increased childcare spaces. Lack of investment in community-based and school-based childcare facilities in communities such as Scarborough Agincourt has resulted in childcare deserts. What will you do to ease childcare spaces in Scarborough Agincourt?
When Minister Lecce was Minister of Education, because that falls under the Minister of Education portfolio, I was discussing with him this issue in Scarborough, and he was very sensitive towards our needs. We had a change in cabinet, and a new minister came, Jill Dunlop, and it took her some time to get acquainted with her file and the issues, etc. But we are trying to allocate, it is not the same as your question. For example, AXA receives from the government money for after-school programs. And I don't know, was it $720,000? I don't.
I would love that much, it's just over 400.
No, there was an announcement where we had 600.
For the after-school programs,
Yeah.
it's just over 400.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will work on increasing that. So, no, I am very much looking on this issue, but I have to be honest, I'm very transparent, because you need, as a local politician, you can fight so much. And my priorities were these three projects: the hospital, the bridal town, and the Shepherd Subway, and to lesser extent, safety and security. But hopefully when I go back to Queen's Park, I will be able to start focusing on other issues of concern to our community, and that's why I will be quite happy to sit with all of you. If you have any issues in a Scarborough Agincourt, we need to address any issues, we will discuss it, put it on the table, I will carry over, and I will fight for them.
Thank you, Aris. We're gonna open it up to you, and if you wanna get a tea or coffee in the meantime, but
Keep it
we'll
recorded.
open it up.
Keep it recorded, that'd be good.
I think we'll stop the recording at this point, because I think that really covers the major issues that we were looking at.